You smell like piss and failure. Get your black ass out of my diner. Officer Garrett Stokes towers over Heston Vance, a black man in his late 50s with a matted beard, wild hair, and a torn army jacket stained with years of street life. He's nursed one cold coffee for 2 hours. Lorraine Kemp, the white manager behind the counter, has seen enough. Stokes grabs a steaming mug from a nearby customer and hurls the scalding coffee straight into Heston's face. It burns his skin, drips down his beard. Heston sits motionless, eyes down, breathing steady. Customers gasp and raise their phones. Manager Lorraine folds her arms, satisfied. Stokes yanks Heston up by his collar. "I said get out!" Heston's hand moves toward his jacket. "Touch that pocket and I'll put you in cuffs." Stokes slams him back down hard. What if this nobody could destroy everything with one phone call? What Stokes doesn't know, Heston's been waiting for this moment. Lorraine Kemp has owned Rosie's Diner for 11 years without incident. She watches Stokes from behind the counter, her pulse finally settling after 2 hours of unease. The moment that homeless man walked in, something felt wrong. Too quiet, too watchful. She's not racist. She tells herself this while wiping the same counter spot 3 times. She's protecting her business. The family in booth 4 shouldn't have to eat near someone who hasn't showered in weeks. It's about standards, not skin color. She's called police on 3 loiterers this year, all resolved quietly. This will be no different. Stokes is doing exactly what she needs, and Lorraine feels vindicated. See? Her instincts were right. He's resisting. He's trouble. Across the diner, Heston Vance reads every detail of Stokes's body language. The flared nostrils, clenched jaw, forward weight shift. 40 years of military intelligence taught him to assess men like this instantly. Aggressive, overconfident, dangerous. This is the 12th city in 6 months, 73 police interactions, 312 documented incidents. He's been denied service, profiled, arrested without cause, beaten on public benches. Each time, silence, documentation, evidence. Tonight feels different. Maybe it's Stokes's smile when he threw that coffee. Maybe it's the crying child in booth 4, watching a black man humiliated for existing. Maybe it's because Heston sees his grandson's face in those terrified eyes. Or maybe it's because his wife Rosalind died 6 months ago and he promised her their sacrifices would matter. His duffel contains a tablet, 3 phones, 6 months of evidence. Hidden in his jacket lining, a laminated card with a number bypassing 4 Pentagon security levels. He hasn't used it. Tonight might be different. Stokes yanks him to his feet. "Stand up. I'm patting you down." "Am I under arrest?" "You are if I say you are." Rookie Iris Langley shifts uncomfortably, hand near her radio. 8 months on the job, still on probation. Speaking up could end her career. Heston's eyes meet hers for half a second. She looks away. Heston makes the decision that will destroy everything Stokes knows. Heston stands slowly, hands visible, palms open, every movement deliberate, controlled. He's memorizing badge numbers. Stokes, 2836, Langley, 5012. Body cam positions. Stokes's is active, tiny red light blinking on his chest. Langley's is active too, positioned slightly left. 3 civilian phones recording from different angles. Booth 2, Booth 6, Booth 9. Complete coverage. Old training kicks in. Observe, document, prepare. Stokes circles him like a predator. "ID now. In my wallet, left pocket. Get it slowly." Heston reaches in, produces a worn leather wallet, state ID, expired VA card, $8 cash. He hands it to Stokes, who examines it like he's searching for forgery, holding it up to the light with exaggerated scrutiny. "Heston Vance." Stokes draws out each syllable mockingly. "Date of birth. You're 58? You look 70. The diner is silent except for the hum of the refrigerator and a child's muffled crying. Stokes radios dispatch. "Running a check on Heston Vance, DOB November 12, 1966. While waiting, he circles back. "You been drinking tonight?" "No, sir." "Drugs?" "No, sir." "Then why are your eyes so red? Because I haven't slept more than 4 hours in 6 months. Because I'm documenting how this country treats its veterans. Because my wife is dead and I'm tired of watching men like you abuse power." "Tired," Heston says simply. Stokes steps closer, invading his space. "Turn around, hands on the table. I'm checking you for weapons." "Officer, I haven't—" "Hands table, now." Heston complies. The pat-down is rough, unnecessary. Stokes's hands dig into pockets, slide along his ribs, check his ankles, all with more force than required. Humiliation theater for the watching crowd. He finds the flip phone in Heston's inner jacket pocket and holds it up triumphantly. Well, what's this, burner phone? It's a phone. Drug dealers use burner phones. So do people who value privacy. Stokes pockets it. I'm confiscating this pending investigation. That's theft. The word hangs in the air, sharp, dangerous. Stokes leans close, breath hot against Heston's ear. You want to accuse me of theft? A cop? You? Heston's hands grip the table edge. His voice drops, calm but lethal. I want you to follow the law, Officer Stokes. Wrong answer. Stokes's face reddens and he says the words that will end his career. You're under arrest. The cuffs bite into Heston's wrists, too tight, metal digging into bone. Stokes tightens them deliberately, then spins him around to face the diner. 12 customers stop eating. All eyes on the homeless black man in handcuffs. Let's go. Stokes grabs his shoulder, parades him through the center aisle, past the crying child, past the elderly couple who suddenly find their plates fascinating, past the 3 people still recording on their phones. Heston has survived firefights in Baghdad, insurgent attacks in Kandahar, intelligence operations that could have gotten him killed a dozen times over. But this public degradation, this performance of power over a man who dared drink coffee while black, ignites something he's kept controlled for months. You're hurting my wrists, Heston says evenly. Should have thought about that before making trouble. Stokes projects his voice for the audience. Langley follows, hand on her radio, visibly uncomfortable. Garrett, maybe we should just... He's in custody. End of discussion. They push through the glass door into the rain. Cold autumn wind cuts through Heston's thin jacket. The parking lot is empty except for 2 patrol cars, their lights painting everything red and blue. Stokes shoves him toward the nearest vehicle. Hard. Heston's chest hits the hood, face pressed against cold metal. Rain soaks through his clothes. He tastes blood where his lips split against the car. Securing the suspect, Stokes announces, though no one asked. Langley stands 5 feet away, frozen. I'll call for a supervisor. I am the supervisor on scene. Get in the driver's seat. Heston speaks calmly, each word measured. Officer Stokes, badge number 2836. I'm asking you one last time to release me and apologize. This is unlawful detention. Stokes laughs, actually laughs. The sound echoes off the pavement. Or what? You gonna sue me? With what money? You're nobody. Heston closes his eyes, rain mixing with the coffee still drying on his face. I gave you chances. What did you say? I said I gave you chances to walk away. Stokes grabs his shoulder, spins him around. You threatening a police officer? No. I'm giving you information you'll need later. Heston's voice is steady, almost gentle. When they ask why you didn't stop, remember I offered you an exit. Stokes's face reddens. He yanks open the patrol car door. Get in before I add threatening an officer to your charges. Inside the diner, Lorraine Kemp watches through the rain-streaked window, arms crossed. See? She was right to call. He was trouble. Some people just don't belong in nice establishments. She'll tell this story for weeks, how her instincts saved her customers from a dangerous vagrant. In the driver's seat, Iris Langley grips the steering wheel, knuckles white. This feels wrong, everything about it. But Stokes is her training officer, and she's still on probation. She pulls out her phone, texts her sergeant under the dashboard. Need advice. Uncomfortable situation with Stokes. No response. As they drive away, Heston asks for his phone call, and Stokes reaches up, turning off his body camera. Richmond Police Station, holding cell, #3, 11:34 p.m. Heston sits on the metal bench, hands finally uncuffed. Red marks circle both wrists. The cell smells like disinfectant and desperation. 2 other men occupy the space, one sleeping off intoxication, one younger, scared, clearly his first arrest. Heston breathes slowly, centers himself. The old him, Colonel Vance, would have revealed his identity immediately, crushed this before it started. But the new him, the one walking among America's forgotten, needed to see it. To experience the full weight of what thousands of veterans face daily. He's seen enough. A processing officer appears at the bar's, bored expression. You get one call. I need my phone. Which one? We confiscated 2. The flip phone, left inside jacket pocket. The officer retrieves it, suspicious. Who you calling at midnight? A friend. Heston dials from memory. Not the emergency number yet, but close. 3 rings. Lieutenant Colonel Audrey Pennington, Pentagon Operations. Her voice is clipped, professional, shocked to hear from this number. Pennington, it's Vance. I need a favor. Recognition floods her tone. Sir, where are you? We've been trying to reach Richmond PD, holding cell. I need you to activate Protocol 7. Silence. Protocol 7 is reserved for emergencies, hostage situations, compromised intelligence officers, imminent threats to national security. Sir, that's a SecDef level activation. Are you in immediate danger? No, but the system is. I need you to document every detail of my arrest. Pull all body cam footage from Officers Stokes and Langley. Get the manager's statement and the 911 call. I want everything on my desk by 0800. Your desk! Sir, you don't have a... Pennington. His voice drops, command authority returning. I still have my clearance. I still have my commission. And I still have Secretary Thatcher's direct line. Do you want me to use it, or will you handle this quietly? A beat. Understood. Protocol 7 active. Sir, with respect. What the hell is going on? I'm doing my job. Different uniform, same mission. He hangs up. Heston leans back against cold concrete, closes his eyes. He thinks about the boy in the diner, the one crying in booth 4. About the thousands of veterans sitting in cells like this with no phone call to make, no colonel's commission to fall back on. They suffer this indignity and worse, daily, invisible. He whispers to the empty cell. Not anymore. Across town, Garrett Stokes pours bourbon in his kitchen, recounting the story to his girlfriend. Handled a vagrant situation at Rosie's. Guy thought he was tough, tried to lecture me about the law. He laughs, takes a drink. They always think they have rights until they're in cuffs. She laughs with him, asks if he got in trouble for turning off his camera. Who's gonna check? He shrugs. It's my word against some homeless nobody. They don't know the phone call has been made. Don't know Lieutenant Colonel Pennington has already flagged the case in 3 federal databases, that body cam footage is being pulled from cloud servers, that a case file with Heston's name is being compiled by Pentagon legal counsel. They don't know the clock is ticking. At 6:41 a.m., Police Chief Stanford Coburn receives a call from Washington, D.C., and goes pale. Friday morning, 6:41 a.m., Chief Stanford Coburn's phone rings before his coffee is ready. Caller ID, Depth of Defense Operations. Chief Coburn, this is Lieutenant Colonel Audrey Pennington, Pentagon Operations. I'm calling regarding the arrest of a civilian in your jurisdiction last night. Heston Vance. Coburn blinks, confused. Ma'am, I'm not familiar with... You will be. Pull the file. I'll wait. He does. Vance, Heston J. Arrested 10:18 p.m. Charges disorderly conduct resisting arrest. Arresting Officer Garrett Stokes. Nothing unusual. Ma'am, I'm looking at it. Standard arrest. What's the Pentagon's interest? Mr. Vance is a retired intelligence officer. His arrest appears to be unlawful detention based on initial reports. I'm requesting immediate body cam footage from Officers Stokes and Langley, the manager's 911 call, and all related documentation. You have 2 hours. 2 hours? Ma'am, that's not a request, Chief, and you should know Secretary Thatcher has been personally briefed. Coburn's stomach drops. The Secretary of Defense knows about a vagrant arrest. There must be some mistake. That's what we're determining. 2 hours. Send everything to this email. She rattles off an address. And, Chief? Mr. Vance is still in your holding cell. Release him immediately. Yes, ma'am. The line goes dead. At the station, morning briefing. Garrett Stokes sips coffee, joking with fellow officers about the homeless vet he arrested. Guy thought he was special. Probably stolen valor, you know the type. Iris Langley sits apart, silent, avoiding eye contact. Dispatch crackles. Stokes, report to Chief's office immediately. Stokes grins. Probably a commendation. He swaggers down the hall. In processing, Heston is escorted out. His belongings returned, both phones, wallet, duffel, no apology, no explanation, just a property receipt to sign. You're free to go. Heston signs slowly, reading every line. I want copies of all paperwork related to my arrest. That's not standard. I'll wait. Something in his tone makes the officer comply. 20 minutes later, Heston walks out with a complete file folder. He pauses at the station entrance, looks through the window, sees Stokes being escorted into an office, the door closing behind him. Heston smiles faintly. Phase 1 complete. Inside, Chief Coburn presses play on the body cam footage and watches Stokes turn off his camera. The footage is damning. Chief Coburn watches in growing horror as the screen displays body cam feeds from both officers, plus 3 civilian phone videos that Pennington's team acquired within an hour. The full picture emerges in brutal clarity. Lorraine Kemp's 911 call. "There's a homeless black man who won't leave my diner." Pause. The dispatcher asks what crime he's committing. He's just sitting there, making customers uncomfortable. No crime mentioned. Stokes' arrival, the aggressive approach, the coffee thrown in Heston's face, every customer's horrified reaction captured from multiple angles. Heston complying with every order, calm, controlled, non-threatening. The unnecessary pat-down. Stokes pocketing the phone. "That's theft," Heston says on camera. Stokes leaning in. "You want to accuse me of theft?" The parking lot, excessive force. Heston's face hitting the hood, blood on his lip. Langley's visible discomfort, her whispered, "This isn't right." Then the moment that makes Coburn's blood run cold. Stokes reaches up, presses the button on his body cam. 2 seconds later, audio cuts, video goes black, deliberate, calculated, criminal. Coburn replays it 3 times, each viewing makes it worse. His intercom buzzes. "Sir, Officer Stokes is here. Send him in, and get the union rep on standby." Stokes enters confident, until he sees Coburn's face, and the frozen frame on the computer screen showing his hand on the body cam button. "Sit down. Chief, if this is about last night, it's about you turning off your camera during an arrest. It's about unlawful detention. It's about the Pentagon, yes, the Pentagon, calling me before dawn demanding answers. Sit down." Stokes sits. Color drains from his face. "Pentagon? That guy was just homeless." Coburn spins the monitor around. "That guy is a retired colonel who trained half the Joint Chiefs of Staff. He has active security clearance. And you humiliated him in public, then destroyed evidence to hide what happened next. I didn't know. You shouldn't have to know. You should treat everyone lawfully." Coburn's voice is ice. "You're suspended. Effective immediately. Badge and weapon, now." Outside, Iris Langley hears raised voices through the door. Other officers gather, whispering. She pulls out her phone. A message from Pennington's team requesting her full statement. She types, "I'll tell you everything. Have you ever witnessed someone abuse their power, thinking no one would stop them? Drop a comment below." Coburn picks up the phone, dials the mayor. "We have a problem bigger than one bad cop." Friday, 10:15 a.m., mayor's office. Gwendolyn Albright has been mayor for 6 years, survived budget crises, corruption scandals, even a recall attempt. But she's never received a call like this. Her aide enters, face pale. "Madam Mayor, the Secretary of Defense's office is on line 1. Gwendolyn freezes mid-sip of coffee. "Excuse me? Secretary Thatcher, he's holding for you." She picks up, hand slightly trembling. "Mr. Secretary, this is unexpected." Secretary Thatcher's voice is gravelly, no nonsense. "Mayor Albright, I'm calling about Heston Vance. You know the name?" "I've been briefed this morning, yes. An unfortunate incident. An assault by a police officer under your jurisdiction on a decorated veteran with 40 years of service. I watched the footage. If this were a military court, your officer would be court-martialed within the hour." Gwendolyn chooses her words carefully. "We're conducting a full investigation. The officer has been suspended. Not enough. I want him fired. I want the manager who made the false report investigated for filing a fraudulent 911 call, and I want body cam review protocols implemented immediately to prevent this from happening again." "Sir, with all respect, I'm not finished. Colonel Vance, yes, Colonel, not homeless man, is a personal friend. He trained my predecessor. He has more medals than your entire police force combined, and your officer treated him like a criminal for drinking coffee while black." Silence. "I'm sending a Pentagon liaison to oversee your internal review. You'll have federal oversight until we're satisfied justice is served. And Mayor, the press is going to love this story. Get ahead of it or it'll bury you." He hangs up. Gwendolyn stares at the phone, then at her aide. "Get me the city attorney, NPR. Cancel my lunch. We're in damage control mode." Across town, Rosie's Diner, morning rush. Lorraine Kemp serves coffee to regulars, oblivious, until 2 FBI agents walk through the door, badges out. Lorraine Kemp, we need to ask you some questions about a 911 call you made last night. Her hands shake. Coffee pot rattles against the counter. I didn't do anything wrong. He was loitering. Ma'am, making a false police report is a federal crime. We're investigating whether your call constituted racial profiling or conspiracy to violate someone's civil rights. Every customer stops eating. Phones rise. Lorraine's world tilts. In a quiet hotel room, Heston dials one more number. His former protege, now General Roland Pritchard, Friday afternoon, Marriott suite courtesy of the Pentagon. Heston sits at the desk, his tablet displaying 18 files spread across the screen. Body cam footage from 2 angles, witness statements from 12 diners, Lorraine Kemp's 911 call recording, Garrett Stokes's complete disciplinary record, 3 prior complaints over 5 years, all dismissed without investigation. Iris Langley's full testimony arrived an hour ago, every word documenting her discomfort and Stokes's dismissal of her concerns. This arrest wasn't random chance or bad luck. Heston chose Rosie's diner deliberately after 2 weeks of reconnaissance. He knew Lorraine Kemp had a documented history, 2 formal complaints from black customers about discriminatory treatment, 1 federal lawsuit settled quietly by the diner's insurance company for $12,000. He knew Garrett Stokes worked the night shift in that district, knew his complaint record, knew his pattern of escalation. He understood that the intersection of racism and unchecked badge authority would create exactly what he needed: proof, undeniable, documented, legally bulletproof proof. For 6 months, he systematically documented how veterans are treated when they become invisible to society. Denied service at restaurants, arrested without probable cause, profiled in stores, brutalized on park benches. Every city, every interaction, every injustice meticulously recorded with dates, times, locations, witness names, and video evidence when possible. His phone rings. The screen displays Gen Pritchard, General Roland Pritchard, chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff. Heston's former student, now his ally. Roland. Heston. Jesus Christ, Heston, I just watched the footage. Are you okay? Did they hurt you? I've survived worse. Remember Fallujah? That IED that took out half my convoy? That was combat. Enemy combatants. This was... Pritchard's voice hardens with barely controlled fury. This was an American police officer assaulting a decorated veteran for existing. Thatcher saw it. He wants to make an example of this entire department. Good. That's exactly phase 2 of my plan. Phase 2? Heston, what the hell are you doing? What have you been doing? Heston opens his laptop, pulls up the presentation he's been building for 6 months. The culmination of every arrest, every humiliation, every documented injustice. The screen fills with the title slide, Project Ground Truth, a 6-month investigation into civil rights violations against American veterans. 146 slides of data, 312 documented incidents across the nation, 19 different cities, 8 states from coast to coast. Roland, I've been building this case since June, since 2 weeks after Rosalind's funeral. Every arrest, every profile, every assault, I documented it all. I didn't just research it from behind a desk. I lived it. I became invisible and experienced firsthand what our veterans face every single day, and now I have the evidence to force systemic change that will protect every veteran in this country. Pritchard whistles low, the sound carrying both admiration and concern. You've been undercover for 6 months? Living on the streets? Heston, that's insane! Grief does strange things to rational people, Roland. After Rosalind died, I couldn't sit in that Pentagon office anymore, pushing papers and attending meetings while our people suffered. I needed to understand what really happens to our veterans when they come home broken and the system abandons them. So I lived as they live. I slept where they sleep. I got treated as they get treated. Heston's voice tightens with emotion he rarely allows himself to show. It's a war zone out here, Roland. Different enemy, same casualties, same body count. Why didn't you tell me? Why didn't you tell anyone? Because you would have stopped me. Or you would have assigned protective handlers, given me backup, made sure everyone knew who I really was. I needed the authentic experience, completely unfiltered, entirely unprotected. I needed to be genuinely vulnerable. You could have been killed. I almost was killed. Twice. Once in Atlanta, once in Denver. Both times, police officers escalated situations that had no reason to escalate. Both times, I barely walked away. He pauses, remembering. I got lucky because of my training. Most veterans don't have that luck. Long silence on the line. Pritchard processing. What do you need from me? Congressional hearing. I want to testify before the Senate Judiciary Committee. I want body cam legislation mandated at the federal level. Cameras always on. Footage automatically uploaded. Tampering treated as a federal crime. I want independent civilian review boards with mandatory veteran representation in every jurisdiction that receives federal funding. And Roland? I want every police officer in this country to know that the next homeless veteran they consider harassing might be someone who once commanded special operations teams. That last part, that's about respect and dignity. Damn right it is. That's what this whole thing has always been about. 48 hours later, every major news network in America breaks the story simultaneously. CNN breaking news. Retired Pentagon colonel arrested while undercover as homeless veteran. 6-month investigation reveals nationwide pattern of police brutality. Within hours, Garrett Stokes' face becomes the most hated in America. Monday morning, 8:15 a.m. Richmond Police Department looks like a battlefield. News vans pack the street, satellite dishes pointed skyward. Protesters crowd the sidewalk. Veterans in uniform holding signs that read "Justice for Colonel Vance" and "Body cams don't lie." Their chants shake the station windows. Inside, Chief Stanford Coburn watches his department crumble in real time. The Pentagon's review team arrived at dawn with federal subpoenas. By mid-morning, they've uncovered what Coburn spent years pretending didn't exist. Internal Affairs has commandeered 3 conference rooms, pulling 5 years of records. The patterns emerge quickly, and they're devastating. 49 complaints filed against officers in the past year. 39 involve minorities. 26 cite excessive force. 14 mention racial slurs. 0 resulted in termination, not a single one. 22 incidents where body cameras mysteriously malfunctioned during arrests. The IT department confirms what everyone suspected. Officers were taught how to disable them without leaving obvious traces. The failure rate is statistically impossible unless deliberate. The Department of Justice opened a pattern and practice investigation at 6 this morning. Federal oversight isn't a possibility anymore. It's guaranteed. The consent decree being drafted will strip Coburn of operational control for at least 5 years. He stands before his command staff. 16 officers who've served under him, some for decades. Their faces show shame, anger, fear. "We are under a microscope," Coburn begins, his voice steady despite the chaos outside. "Every arrest from this moment forward, every traffic stop, every interaction, it's being watched by federal observers, the media, and a country that now sees us as the enemy. Some of you are going to lose your jobs. Some of you deserve to." Lieutenant Constance Merrill, 20 years on the force, asks the question everyone's thinking. "Chief, what about Stokes?" "Terminated. Effective immediately. The U.S. Attorney is filing federal civil rights charges today. He's looking at prison time." The room goes silent. Even officers who disliked Stokes feel the weight. One of their own facing federal prosecution. And Langley? Probation extended 6 months. She cooperated fully, but she should have stopped it. Her silence enabled what happened. Coburn pulls up a document on the projector. Mandatory reforms start today. Body cameras must be active during all public interactions. Footage uploads automatically to cloud servers every 60 seconds. Tampering becomes a federal felony. De-escalation training quarterly instead of annual. Implicit bias training monthly. Every officer completes a 40-hour course on veteran issues taught by VA professionals. He pauses, meeting each officer's eyes. "We're also creating a civilian oversight board with subpoena power. 5 members. 2 must be veterans. They'll review every use of force incident, every complaint. Their recommendations are binding." An officer in the back, Rodriguez, 15 years of service, speaks up. "The union will fight this." "The union can try, but federal consent decrees supersede union contracts. This is happening whether we cooperate or get dragged." Coburn's voice hardens. "And frankly, we deserve this. We let officers like Stokes operate without consequences for years. We ignored complaints. We protected our own at the expense of the community we're sworn to serve. That ends now. 10 blocks away, attorney Celeste Hargrove sits in her ACLU office surrounded by legal documents. At 52, she spent 26 years fighting civil rights cases. This one is different. This one is perfect. She's taking Heston's case pro bono. Not that he needs free representation with his Pentagon pension. This is about precedent, about creating legal framework that protects every veteran in America. Before noon, she files 3 separate lawsuits. The first targets Richmond Police Department directly. She's seeking $15 million for unlawful arrest, excessive force, violation of Heston's constitutional rights, and the department's failure to train and supervise officers properly. The complaint runs 86 pages, every paragraph supported by video evidence and expert testimony. The second suit goes after Garrett Stokes personally, $5 million for battery, assault, false imprisonment, intentional infliction of emotional distress, and destruction of evidence. This one is personal. Stokes can't hide behind qualified immunity. His actions were so clearly unlawful that even the broadest interpretation won't protect him. The third is a class action representing 83 individuals arrested under similar circumstances over the past 3 years. She spent the weekend contacting every person whose arrest showed the same patterns. Minority defendants, minor charges, excessive force, body cam malfunctions. The response overwhelmed her. People who'd been silent for years finally saw a chance for justice. This suit seeks $25 million plus mandatory reforms. But she doesn't stop there. Celeste sends formal complaints to Virginia State Police demanding they investigate their own. She contacts the FBI's Civil Rights Division, asking them to open a criminal investigation. She files with the Department of Justice's Special Litigation Section, requesting they examine the entire Richmond Police Department for systemic violations. She even goes after the prosecutors who saw evidence of police misconduct and chose to do nothing, filing complaints with the Virginia State Bar that could cost them their licenses. Every legal filing is backed by overwhelming evidence. She attaches complete body cam footage from both officers, verified as authentic. She includes Heston's 6-month investigation, all 312 documented incidents, each backed by photos, videos, witness statements, and police reports. She brings in forensic psychologists who will testify about trauma. She hires former police chiefs who will explain to a jury exactly how far Stokes deviated from proper procedure. She has statisticians who've analyzed Richmond's arrest data and found undeniable racial disparities. Black residents are 3 times more likely to be arrested for minor offenses and 5 times more likely to experience use of force. She compares Richmond to similar cities and proves Richmond is an extreme outlier in every category that matters. During their afternoon meeting, Celeste tells Heston, "You've handed us the strongest civil rights case I've seen in a decade. This isn't just winning. This is setting precedent that will be cited for 50 years. Heston sits across from her, cleaned up now but still wearing his worn jacket. "I don't want the money, I want reform." Celeste smiles. "You'll get both. The money is leverage. Cities don't change because it's morally right. They change because it's financially ruinous not to." At Richmond PD's insurance company, Municipal Protection Services, the risk assessment team completes emergency analysis by mid-afternoon. The numbers terrify them. Probability of losing the case, 96%. Estimated damages from all suits combined, $26 to $40 million. Federal oversight costs, $3 to $5 million annually for 5 to 10 years. The city's insurance premiums will jump from $890,000 to over $3 million next year. At 4 p.m., they send a letter to Richmond's city attorney with a simple message. Settle within 90 days or they'll decline coverage for any judgments exceeding policy limits. Additionally, they're tripling the city's insurance premiums. The unspoken threat is clear: settle or go bankrupt. Meanwhile, Washington Post journalist Eloise Quincy arrives in Richmond Monday afternoon. She's won 2 Pulitzers and sees this story as her third. She spends 3 days conducting interviews. Her sit-down with Heston lasts 90 minutes. He's articulate, measured, devastating in his calm recitation of facts. She records every word. Iris Langley is remorseful, painfully honest about the pressure to stay silent. "I knew it was wrong from the first second. I should have stopped it. I should have called a supervisor immediately. I didn't, and that failure will haunt me forever." Lorraine Kemp is defensive, making everything worse. "I was concerned for safety. You don't understand. You weren't there." Eloise asks what looked dangerous, his skin color or his homelessness. Lorraine's face reddens. I'm not racist. I have black customers. The child from booth 4 tells Eloise simply, the policeman was mean to the man who wasn't doing anything wrong. My mom says that's not what heroes do. Eloise's article publishes Sunday morning above the fold. The Colonel and the Cop, How One Veteran's Arrest Exposed America's Two-Tier Justice System. Her key paragraph cuts deep. Heston Vance didn't need to prove he was a colonel. He needed to prove that being a colonel shouldn't matter. Every veteran sleeping on America's streets deserves the dignity Vance was denied, whether they have medals or not, whether they have Pentagon contacts or not. The question isn't how dare they treat a decorated officer this way. The question is, how dare they treat any human being this way? The article is shared 8.3 million times in 48 hours. It trends on every platform. Foreign newspapers pick it up. BBC, The Guardian, Le Monde all run versions highlighting American injustice. Rosie's Diner faces immediate catastrophe. Yelp reviews crash from 4.2 stars to 1.1 overnight. Thousands of one-star reviews flood in. Racist establishment. Called cops on a veteran for being black. Manager should be ashamed. Protesters form a daily picket line. Veterans in uniform. Local residents. Even some of Lorraine's former regulars join, ashamed they supported her business. Health inspectors suddenly become very attentive. They cite 12 violations during an unannounced inspection: improper food storage, pest evidence, expired permits, inadequate hand-washing facilities, major suppliers suspend service, Cisco, Coca-Cola, U.S. Foods all send identical letters citing reputational concerns and potential negative brand association. Without suppliers, the diner can't operate. By Wednesday, Rosie's closes temporarily. By Friday, the closure becomes permanent. By Monday, a for lease sign appears in the window. Lorraine issues a statement through her attorney. I acted out of concern for customer safety and deeply regret any misunderstanding. The statement makes everything worse. Social media dissects every word, finding new ways to highlight her lack of genuine accountability. But the most devastating moment is still coming: Stokes' termination hearing, where Heston will finally speak. Thursday, 2 p.m., Richmond Police Conference Room. Garrett Stokes sits at a folding table, union attorney beside him. Across the room, 5 police commissioners sit stern-faced. Chief Coburn stands against the wall. Internal affairs investigators fill the side chairs, and Heston Vance sits front row. Stokes didn't expect him. The veteran wears a gray suit, clean, pressed, hair trimmed, beard groomed, military posture. He's transformed from homeless trash to decorated colonel without speaking. The contrast devastates. Commissioner Ridgway opens. Officer Stokes, you're charged with excessive force, unlawful detention, and tampering with evidence by deactivating your body camera. How do you respond? Stokes' attorney stands. My client maintains the arrest was justified based on information from the business owner. Heston raises his hand. May I speak? Ridgway hesitates. Colonel Vance, you'll have opportunity during victim impact. This will be brief. Heston stands, walks to center, faces Stokes directly. Officer Stokes, you asked me that night if I was somebody, remember? Stokes looks down. You assumed I wasn't. Homeless, black, veteran, but the wrong kind, right? Not the parade kind. The forgotten kind. Heston places a folder on the table, opens it. Inside, photos of himself in uniform, awards, 3 presidents, generals. I'm somebody, colonel, retired, 40 years, Distinguished Service Cross, Bronze Star with Valor, 2 Purple Hearts. But that's not the point. He pulls another folder. Another. Photos of other veterans, different faces, all struggling, all invisible. These are who you actually violated. For every one of me with connections and resources, there are 10,000 veterans with none. When you cuff them, humiliate them, turn off your camera, nobody calls the Pentagon, nobody writes articles, they disappear and nobody remembers their names. Stokes' hands shake. You turned off your body cam because you knew it was wrong. You've done it before, 3 complaints, all dismissed. You learned badges protect badges, that victims without power have no voice. I didn't know you were... Stokes starts. A colonel? You shouldn't need to know. You should have treated me with basic dignity regardless of rank, race, or housing status. Silence. Heston turns to the commissioners. I don't want Stokes fired because he disrespected me. I want him fired because he's dangerous to every vulnerable person in this city. This hearing sends a message. Cameras stay on or you lose your badge. The commissioners confer quietly. 3 minutes, unanimous vote. Officer Garrett Stokes, you are terminated effective immediately. We're referring this to the U.S. Attorney for Criminal Prosecution. Stokes' attorney protests. We'll appeal. You can try. Ridgway cuts him off. I've watched that footage 20 times. You're done. Stokes exits through the side door. Reporters swarm him anyway. Officer Stokes, statement. He has nothing. What could he say? That he's sorry he got caught? That he didn't know the homeless man had connections? That it was just coffee, just one arrest? He gets in his car, hands trembling on the wheel. His phone buzzes. Text from his father, retired cop. You shamed the badge. Don't call me. His girlfriend left yesterday. Took her things while he was at the station. Left a note. I can't be with someone like you. That night, alone, Stokes Googles himself. 843,000 results. Everyone negative. His face is a meme. His name synonymous with police brutality and racism. Someone created a Wikipedia page. Garrett Stokes, disgraced police officer. His photo is the one where he's throwing coffee in Heston's face. Employment sites flag his name. Do not hire. Federal civil rights violations. He opens LinkedIn. His profile has been reported and suspended. He checks his email. Messages from former friends. Don't contact me. You're on your own. I never really knew you. His mother called earlier crying, asking how she's supposed to show her face at church. He types into the search bar, how to change your name legally. Then another search. Cities where nobody knows me. Then, jobs that don't require background checks. The answers are bleak. His life as he knew it is over. 48 hours ago, he was Officer Garrett Stokes, badge 2836, with authority and respect. Now he's a national symbol of everything wrong with American policing. But Heston's mission isn't finished. The real change is about to begin. 6 weeks after the arrest, Heston Vance sits before the Senate Judiciary Committee. Cameras flash. Senators lean forward. The chamber is packed with veterans, activists, journalists, families who've lost loved ones to police violence. Senator Holbrook speaks first. Colonel Vance, thank you for your service and courage. Tell us what you found. Heston adjusts the microphone. For 6 months, I lived as thousands of veterans live, on streets, in shelters, dependent on strangers' kindness. I was denied service, profiled, arrested for existing in public spaces. In Denver, beaten by police while sitting on a public bench. In Atlanta, kicked out of a library for smelling bad. In Philadelphia, arrested for loitering while waiting for a bus. He displays his presentation on chamber screens. 312 documented incidents. 19 cities. 73 police interactions. In 68%, officers escalated unnecessarily. In 41%, veterans arrested without probable cause. In 23%, body cameras turned off or malfunctioned. Senator Ramsey leans in. Colonel, what do you recommend? 3 things. First, mandatory federal body camera standards, always on during public interactions, footage automatically uploaded, tampering becomes federal felony. Second, independent civilian review boards with subpoena power. 2 members must be veterans. Third, specific officer training on veteran issues, PTSD, traumatic brain injury, homelessness, taught by VA professionals. Senator Holbrook asks, would that have changed what happened to you? Maybe, but it'll change what happens to the next veteran. That's enough. Within 90 days, reforms cascade. The Federal Body Cam Accountability Act passes Senate 76-24, House 312-118. President signs with Heston beside him. All agencies receiving federal funding must comply within 18 months. Richmond PD undergoes complete overhaul. New chief appointed. 14 officers terminated. Consent decree requires quarterly de-escalation training, monthly bias courses, veteran liaison program, public dashboard tracking complaints. National Veteran Protection Act creates grants for veteran-specific crisis teams, social workers, Virginia reps, mental health professionals responding alongside or instead of police. Richmond settles with Heston for $8.5 million. He donates 90% to veteran housing nonprofits. Class action settles for $23 million, distributed among 83 plaintiffs. Lorraine Kemp loses everything. Diner gone. Not criminally charged, but named in civil suits. Files bankruptcy, moves away, works retail under different name. Garrett Stokes pleads guilty to 2 federal misdemeanors. 18 months probation, 500 hours community service at veteran shelter, permanently barred from law enforcement. Works construction 3 states away now. Iris Langley completes probation, becomes advocate for police reform. Testifies at other hearings about silence culture. Not popular with veteran officers, but new chief respects her courage. Heston watches the Senate vote on C-SPAN. Reforms pass. Not perfect. Implementation messy, enforcement uneven, but progress. His phone rings. The boy from the diner. "Mr. Vance? I wanted to say, you're a hero." Heston's voice softens. "No, son. I'm just a veteran who got tired of being invisible." But for Heston, the journey is personal, and the hardest part lies ahead. Sunday morning, Veterans Memorial Park, Richmond. 3 months later. Heston stands before a small gathering, 40 formerly homeless veterans now housed through programs his settlement funding created. They meet monthly, a support group, a community, a reminder that nobody fights alone anymore. He's not wearing the suit today, just jeans, a flannel shirt, his old army jacket, washed and mended but still worn. He looks like he did that night at the diner, intentionally. "Most of you know my story," Heston begins. "Some of you lived your own versions. We've all been invisible at some point, sitting in diners, sleeping on benches, walking past people who won't make eye contact." Heads nod around the circle. "What happened to me wasn't special. It was common. The only difference is I had a phone number to call. You didn't, and that's not right." A woman raises her hand. Maxine, 52, Army medic, homeless 3 years before Heston's foundation housed her. "How do you let go of the anger? I see cops now, and I feel it again." Heston nods slowly. "I don't think we let it go completely. We transform it, anger into action, bitterness into purpose. That night at the diner, I was angry. I'm still angry, but I used it. You can too." Another veteran speaks. Otis, 29, Marine, struggles with PTSD. "Do you regret it, putting yourself through all that?" Heston pauses, thinks of the night in the cell, the cuffs, the humiliation, the scalding coffee burning his face, thinks of his wife Rosalind, who would have hated the danger but admired the mission. "No, because now when I see a veteran on the street, I don't just see statistics or policy failures. I see me, I see us, and that makes the fight personal in ways it never was before." The group sits quietly, processing, healing. "We changed some laws, we got some cops fired, we made headlines, but the real work is this." He gestures to the circle. "Showing up, supporting each other, making sure nobody's invisible anymore. That's the victory that matters." Later, Heston walks past where Rosie's diner used to stand. The building is gone now, demolished. In its place, construction scaffolding, cement mixers, workers in hard hats. A large sign reads, "Vance Community Center, opening spring 2026, services for veterans, funded by his settlement. Offering job training, mental health counseling, temporary housing, Virginia benefits assistance. Lorraine Kemp's prejudice demolished and rebuilt as something good. Evening now. Similar time to that night months ago." Heston walks through downtown Richmond, passes a different diner, smaller, warmer, better. He enters, sits at the counter, orders coffee. The waitress, an older black woman, smiles warmly. "Rough day, baby?" "Long life," Heston says, "but getting better." She pours his coffee, doesn't hover, doesn't judge. When he pays, she pauses, looks closer at his face. "Wait, you're him, the colonel, from the news." Heston nods. She sets down the coffee pot, extends her hand. "My son served. Iraq. 2 tours. Thank you. For everything you did, not just over there, but here too." They shake hands. She refuses payment for the coffee. "On the house. And sir, you come here any time, day or night. You're always welcome." Heston's eyes mist slightly. He nods, unable to speak past the emotion in his throat. Outside, he looks up at the darkening sky, thinks of Rosalind, whispers to the evening air, "We did it, baby. We made them see us." Rank fades, medals tarnish, uniforms get stored away in closets and attics, but honor doesn't retire, dignity doesn't discharge, and a veteran's worth isn't measured by the medals they wear or the rank they held. It's proven by the battles they refused to stop fighting. They thought he had nothing to lose. They forgot. A man with nothing to lose but everything to prove is the most dangerous kind of soldier. If you made it this far, you've witnessed something rare, justice that actually worked. But here's the uncomfortable truth most people don't want to face. Heston Vance is the exception, not the rule. Right now, tonight, while you're watching this, there are 38,000 veterans experiencing homelessness in America. 38,000. How many of them have a phone number that reaches the Pentagon? 0. How many of them will face the same profiling, the same arrests, the same humiliation Heston endured? Thousands, this week alone. The difference? They won't make headlines. They won't get million-dollar settlements. They won't have their stories told on national news. They'll just disappear into the system, forgotten, invisible, discarded by the country they served. Should body cam footage from incidents like this be made public automatically? Let us know what you think, and subscribe for more real justice stories.